And we're moving on to Wednesday, week 29, and I picked out a few sums here. Looking at number 7, true or false? It asks, 4/5 is it greater than 75%? One's a fraction, one's a decimal. Let's change this fraction to a decimal. 4/5, it's equivalent to how many tenths? Well, it's equivalent to 8 tenths, and we know 8 tenths equals 80%, and yes, that is true. 80% is greater than 75%. Moving on, we want to express 3/8, this is number 10, as a percentage. 3/8. Now, how do I change a fraction to a percentage? Well, first I'm going to change this fraction to a decimal. So I'm going to divide the denominator into the numerator. So I'm going to divide the 8 into the 3. 8 into 3, as we know, doesn't go. So I'm going to put up a decimal point, and I can place as many zeros as I want after that decimal point. It's still the value of 3. 8 into 3 doesn't go. Decimal point here, decimal point down below. Carrying my 3, 8 into 30. Well, I know my 8 times tables. I know that 8 times 3 is 24. I know that 8 times 4 is 32. Which one of these multiplication facts will I use? Well, I'll use this one. So 8 into 30 goes in 3 times, and the difference between 30 and 24 is 6, carrying the 6. 8 into 60, I know that 7 times 8 is 56, so it goes in 7 times, and the difference between 60 and 56 is 4, so I carry the 4. 8 into 40 is 5. Now I have it as a decimal. I can change a decimal to a percentage by multiplying it by 100, and my answer there is 37.5 out of 100, or percent, which is 37.5%. Number 14, if ham costs €5 per 500 grams, what would 1¼ kilogram cost? Okay, so we know the value of 500 grams, which we know is a ½ kilogram, and the value of that is €5. So we know 1,000 grams, which is a full kilogram, or 1 kilogram, is €10. Now, if a ½ kilogram costs 500, well then a quarter of a kilogram is half the price of 500 grams, which is €2.50. So we put the €10 and the €2.50 together to get €12.50. Oh, number 16, this looks a little bit tricky. 4 divided by 0.5. I'm going to write that one down. So here we have it. 4 divided by 0.5. When I see 0.25, I think 0.25, change that to a decimal, change that decimal to a fraction, that's a quarter. So now I'm going to rewrite the sum as 4 divided by a quarter. Now, a quick way of doing this is you look at your division sign, you change it, and to counteract that, you invert, flip over that fraction, the second fraction. So now my sum is 4 times 4, which is 16, divided by 1, which is 16. Now, to explain this a little bit better, 4 divided by a quarter, what that is actually saying to us, that is 4 whole pizzas, 1 pizza, 2 pizzas, 3 pizzas, 4, and we're splitting them into quarters. So we're going to have lots of quarters. We're going to have 4 quarters here, and another 4, that's 8, 4 quarters here, that's 12, and 4 quarters here. So 4 divided by 0.25 is 16. Okay, and van Gevekeme, Nuala, number 17. Nuala had €25. She spent 0.4 of it on a jersey. How much was the jersey? So we simply find 0.4 of 25. Let me bring that in a bit. And 0.4, as we know, is 4 tenths of 25. 10 into 25 goes in 2.5 times, and multiply it now by the 4 to find 4 tenths. 4 5s are 20. Carrying over the 2, 4 2s are 8, plus your 2 is 10. So the jumper costs €10. And the final one, a half, take away 0.25. So let me write that one down. A half, take away 0.125. Now, I'm going to change that 0.125 to a fraction. Now I know 0.125 is in 1/8. If I didn't know that, I'd look at my decimal. It's got 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So I'm going to put 125 over 1,000. Now it's expressed as a fraction. I'm going to simplify that fraction. I'm going to divide the top by 5, and if I divide the top by 5, I must divide the bottom by 5. 5 into 12 goes in twice, carrying the little 2. 5 into 25 goes in 5 times. 5 into 1 doesn't go, 5 into 10 goes in twice, and into 0 and 0, so it's 25 over 200. Going to divide it by 5 again. 5 into 5 goes, 5 into 25 goes in 5 times, and 5 into 200 goes in 40 times. I'm going to divide it by 5 again. These are all equivalent fractions. I'm just simplifying the fraction, or writing it in its simplest form. 5 into 5 goes in once, and 5 into 40 goes in 8 times. So now I've simplified to 0.125 as 1/8. So I have a half, and I'm subtracting an eighth. Now a half and eighths, they're from the same fraction family, but they don't share the same denominator. So I'm going to change this half into eighths. Well, 1/2 is equal to 4/8, and 1/8 taking away that from that 4/8 leaves me with 3/8, and there's my answer, 3/8. Moving on to Thursday. Oh, I've selected number 7 here as the difficult one. Number 7, question 7, it is 30 divided by a half plus 10, and we need to find the answer there. Now, this is 6th class stuff. We think of the BOMDAS rules, brackets of multiplication, division, addition and subtraction, and this is the order in which we do them. We always do the brackets first, then we do the of, which is the product of the multiplication and the division. So division comes before subtraction. So here I have 30 divided by a half. So I'm going to put brackets around that because I need to do that before my addition. 30 divided by half is 15, and then I'll add my 10, which is 25. So that is my answer. So this is my answer here. 30 divided by a half is 15, which is 25. Okay. Moving on, number 12, true or false? 3/8 is less than 40%. We always read from left to right. So 3/8 is less than 40%. Well, we worked out earlier on that 1/8 is 0.125. So 3/8 is 3 times that. 3 5s are 15. 3 2s are 6, plus my 1 is 7. 3 1s is 3. And 3 times 0 is 0. Putting in my decimal place, I have 3 in the top, I have 3 in the bottom. Express that as a percentage. Well, that's 37.5%. And 37.5% is less than 40%. So that answer is true. Number 17, let's have a look at it. This is Thursday, number 17. 3.6 divided by 0.09. Now, sometimes we're not too comfortable by dividing numbers with decimals. So I'm going to eliminate that decimal, or get rid of it, by multiplying this number by 100. It'll shift that decimal place 2 places to the right. If I multiply this number by 100, I must also multiply this number by 100. Now, 0.09 multiplied by 100, so 0.09, and remember I'm moving it 2 places. That'll bring my decimal point to there, which is 9. And then if I multiply 3.6 by 100, I'll move that decimal place 2 places and leave me with 360. Now 36 divided by 9 is 4, so 360 divided by 9 is 40. And that is my answer. And here we go, number 19. What is the biggest angle you could have in a triangle, as in whole number? Would it be 90 degrees, 166 degrees, or 178 degrees? Now, how many angles has a triangle? Well, tri means 3, so it must have 3 angles. Now, if one of them was the largest angle it can possibly be, and I'm going to try and draw 1 degrees. So this is 1 degrees because it's a whole number. Let's imagine this is 1 degrees, and we're coming over here and we're going to draw and keep on going on and draw this as 1 degrees too, and we'll keep on going on with these two lines. So this is 1 degrees too. This is the second angle. So have I fitted it in there? I have 1 degrees plus 1 degrees equals 2 degrees, which leaves 2 degrees plus 178 degrees, which will have to be, the three angles in a triangle always sum up to 180 degrees, leaving that as the largest angle. And that's the largest possible angle we can have in a triangle when the other two angles are whole numbers. And that's the lot.